Lil Durk just revealed King Von's chilling final warning to him before his death. If you're looking for somebody one day, you better look every day. Because the moment you stop looking, someone's going to find you. But it seems Von's warning to Durk may have fallen on deaf ears, and some believe that's exactly why Durk is now facing serious legal consequences. The internet didn't waste time connecting the dots. So let me break it down for you, the brotherhood behind the warning. When King Von told Durk, "Watch who you call your homie. Watch who you call your Brody," he wasn't just rapping for him. In fact, this was real street gospel. Von was trying to save his brother's life with those words. And now, with snitches reportedly emerging left and right in Durk's case, it makes you wonder, does Durk regret not listening more closely? To really understand why this warning hits different, you've got to go back and unpack what made Von and Durk's bond so unique. These two weren't just label mates or casual friends, they were like twin flames in the drill scene, connected in a way most people can't fully grasp. In an interview, when Von was asked if he and Durk were biologically related, he made it clear, "That's my brother. We ain't got the same mother and same father though, but that's my, yeah." How did you guys meet growing up? The interviewer asked. "Same area. You know how that go. Do you remember the first time you met him?" "First time? Nah, we always be outside deep. So probably the first time, maybe what age? Around like 6th grade or something, 6th or 7th. You hear that? 6th or 7th grade. These weren't industry connections. This was a brotherhood built in the trenches of Chicago's South Side. They grew up in Parkway Garden homes, known as O Block, one of the most infamous neighborhoods in the city. Surviving that kind of environment creates a bond most suburban kids will never understand. And it wasn't just about growing up together. Durk recognized something special in Von early on. He signed Von to his Only the Family, OTF, label in 2018, giving him a platform when nobody else would. That kind of loyalty is rare in an industry full of snakes. When asked why he signed King Von, Durk kept it real. He got a whole story behind him. Know what I'm saying? He from O Block, that should speak for itself. Nah, but know what I'm saying? He just real. His music, it's just real. That's my brother, twin. That twin comment wasn't just for clout. Durk truly saw Von as his twin, his other half in the game. And when your bond is that deep, you start to see things others don't. Von had an instinct for spotting fake energy, and he tried to pass that gift on to Durk. Just listen to how Von talked about being in the studio with Durk. "It's like us hanging out on a regular day." No, like studio-wise. Yeah, same thing. We be in the studio together. His work ethic can keep going and going. He makes like 100 songs in one night. I only got like 10 in me or some underscore like that, but when we work together, it's regular. Like just us kicking it. It don't feel like work. You could hear the admiration in Von's voice, the respect. For Durk's grind while still keeping it real about their friendship. This wasn't just business. This was blood. And their music proved it. Tracks like Crazy Story 2.0 and Twin Nem showed off their chemistry and how they elevated each other. They weren't just rapping. They were telling real stories from their lives, and Von's warning wasn't some abstract idea. It came from painful experience. Before Von blew up in the rap game, he had just beaten a murder charge. When he spoke about trust and loyalty, he wasn't talking theory, he'd lived it. My story? I just got out of jail, beat a body in 2 attempts. What December? Got out, started rapping. I got the crazy story from the drop. Got the war with us, got problems out, right now. I'm on the up and coming, and when asked how he beat the case, under trial, young black jury. You know, the jury, yeah. Luck, you know, all the way. Von spent 3.5 years behind bars fighting a murder case that could have given him life. He knew what it meant to have the wrong homie or Brody around. That's why he told Durk to be cautious, because he'd seen how fast so-called friends fold under pressure. And now we're seeing that warning come to life in Durk's own situation. Reports say alleged informants, like someone known as Jam, might be helping build the federal case against. Durk and Von moved through the industry differently. While most rappers chased clout, these two were selective about who they kept around. They weren't trying to be everyone's friend. They knew popularity could be poisonous. Durk once said, "I just know what I know. I know what's real. I know a fake conversation from a real one." That's the mindset Von was trying to reinforce with his warning. In an industry full of yes men and hidden agendas, Von was urging Durk to stay sharp. And here's the thing, this wasn't a warning from years ago. This was one of Von's final messages. Almost like he saw what was coming. It's like when the Og in the Hood pulls you aside for some real talk because he knows he might not get another shot. Before we dive deeper into what Von was really trying to tell Durk, let's break down why that message hits harder today than ever before. The feds are watching. Informants are allegedly cooperating, and you've got to wonder if the very homies. And Brody's Von warned about are now the ones helping take Durk down. Von understood the game. He knew love can vanish, but betrayal, that's forever. His warning wasn't advice, it was prophecy, and it was heartbreakingly validated after his death. Thus is exactly the kind of snake behavior that Von was warning Durk about. Watch who you call your homie. Watch who you call your Brody. Smirk. It doesn't get more prophetic than that. There's also speculation about someone referred to as co-conspirator 4, who was allegedly leaking Quando Rondo's location. Some believe this individual might be Brick Baby, who has ties to the Rollins 60s Crips, the same gang Quando Rondo was affiliated with. Before allegedly dropping his flag after the shooting, all of these betrayals and accusations of snitching validate Von's warning on an almost frightening level. It's as if Von could see the future, as if he knew who would fold under pressure, and was trying to give Durk one last piece of wisdom before leaving this world. What makes this all even more tragic is the fact that Durk is now behind bars, facing the very real possibility of life in prison. His trial was originally set to begin in January 2025, but was pushed back to October 2025 due to the massive amount of evidence the prosecution has collected. While locked up, Durk seems to be turning inward, focusing on his spirituality and his family. In a phone call with DJ academics from federal prison, Durk shared, "Talk to my family, my wife 24/7. We be, just prayer, learning Arabic. I've been in these books heavy, just reading up on the history and everything. I don't really be walking around talking and playing and doing none of that. We'll play basketball, but I always try to stay focused and busy. That's why I don't really talk to the outside of the family, because I don't want to hear all the extra bull, the drama, the underscore. I really just, I just really stay in the learning mode." Imagine if Durk had truly internalized Von's warning before everything went down. What if he'd been more selective about who he allowed in his inner circle? More cautious about who he trusted with sensitive information? More guarded about who he gave access to positions that could be turned against him? Would he still be behind bars today? Or would he be free, continuing to build his legacy and honor? Von's memory through music? This isn't just about street code. It's about common sense and self-preservation. Von wasn't casually throwing advice out. He was giving Durk the cheat code for survival in an industry and a lifestyle where betrayal is part of. The currency. Now, let's unpack the deeper meaning and legacy of Von's warning. It starts with that powerful quote, "And every word matters. Watch who you call your homie." In street culture, a homie is someone you vibe with, someone in your circle, but not necessarily in your most trusted inner group. Von is telling Durk to be more discerning about who even gets a surface-level association with him. Watch who you call your Brody. This one cuts deeper. A Brody is someone you see as family, someone you trust with your life, your secrets, your vulnerabilities. Von is urging Durk to be extremely selective about who gets this level of trust and closeness. Smirk. That's Durk's nickname, making the message even more personal. Von wasn't dropping general game for the streets. He was speaking directly to Durk, warning him that because of his position and influence, he had to be extra cautious. The quote reflects the constant threat of betrayal in the Chicago drill scene and street life they both came from. Von understood that in their world, a single lapse in judgment, a misplaced sense of trust, could lead to either death or imprisonment. And now look at what's happening. Durk is facing life in prison. And there are serious allegations that people he considered family are working with the feds. What's even wilder is that Durk himself once released a song called "Watch Your Homie," warning about fake friends. So he clearly understood the principle Vaughn was preaching, yet somehow didn't apply it tightly enough to his own circle. It's like knowing the answer to a test, but still getting it wrong because you second-guessed yourself. The timing of Vaughn's warning was also key. He didn't say this years ago when they were still coming up. He said it toward the end, when both of them had reached a level of success that naturally attracts envy, greed, and betrayal. Vaughn knew that the higher you rise, the more people want to see you fall, and some of them will actively try to push you. Now let's examine Durk's current legal situation and how it ties directly back to Vaughn's warning. Federal prosecutors allege that Durk placed a monetary bounty on Quando Rondo's head following Vaughn's death and that he used members of his own crew, referred to as F, to carry out the hit. They claim multiple people affiliated with F coordinated the plan and discussed payment details after the attempted hit. But here's the kicker. Someone had to provide the feds with all of that internal information, according to DJ Academics. What's going to be interesting, if you ask me, is going to be the digital evidence. Not necessarily surveillance, but it's probably going to be like, hey, this is an interview we did with a confidential informant. This guy or this guy or this woman, and those people are implicating you. They're saying they had conversations with you where you said you'd pay them $40,000 to kill somebody. That's going to be important. And I think that's when Durk's really going to realize, yo, these are the people who've got me dead to rights in this murder for hire case. This is exactly what Vaughn was warning about, the same people who are now potentially helping send Durk to prison for life are the ones he once called homie and Brody. They were inside his circle. They benefited from his success, all while allegedly plotting his downfall. The allegations surrounding Jam are especially disturbing, if true. This is a man who reportedly served 12 years for attempted murder. When he got out, Durk welcomed him back, gave him money, cars, and support, and yet Jam allegedly wore a wire for 2 years to help the feds build a case against the very people who looked out for him. If that's not the definition of a snake, what is? What's even crazier is that Jam publicly denied the snitching claims on Instagram, saying, I lied to your face about Shasterisk T when the discovery comes out. You're going to see I'm not how the feds got onto us or built their case. I'm gonna let the paperwork come out because it's gone tell it all. Notice how he says us like he's still part of F even while allegedly helping tear them down from the inside. The audacity is unreal, and then there's more speculation around Brick Baby possibly being co-conspirator 4, accused of giving up Quando's locations. Brick Baby has denied all of it, but his reaction during a no-jumper interview right when news of the F arrest broke left many fans convinced he was somehow involved. All of this betrayal, deception, and backstabbing is exactly what Vaughn was warning Durk about. And the tragedy runs deeper because Vaughn himself ended up a victim in a situation that arguably should have never escalated in the first place. The whole thing with Quando. Rondo is a perfect case study in how egos, miscommunication, and retaliation can spiral into irreversible consequences. In a 2024 interview, Quando Rondo expressed deep regret over the beef with Vaughn, saying, all this SHT we talking about is stupid SHT. It could have been handled a totally different way. It could have been to the point where a song and $3 or $4 million could have came out of this. It could have been handled in a legit way, in a music way. But by then, it was too little, too late. Vaughn was gone, Durk was facing life, and the streets, they weren't any better off for it.